And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're going to be taking a look at a game called Bloodbound. This is a game from Fantasy Flight, and it has a very unusual player count. It's 6 to 12 players, which means it's essentially kind of like a party-style game. In fact, this game is going to fit in the same category as Resistance or Werewolf. Really, that's the way it is. Each person, I think there's a clan war that's been going on between two clans. You're going to be on one of the two clans, and you're trying to take out the leader of the opposing clan. Let's take a look. Alright, at the beginning of this game, it's each player is going to get one of these character cards. Now, I want to talk about these character cards for a bit because Fantasy Flight usually does a great job of production. I don't know what it is about these cards. These cards look like cosplayers or people who were posing for these pictures. They dressed up and posed. I don't know how else to describe it. It just doesn't seem real how these people look on these. But it is what it is. I'm telling you, that guy works for an iron forge during the day and at night dresses up like Sir Rosalie ahead. But anyhow, each of these cards is important because they show what affiliation you are. You're either on the Rose team or you're on the Wolf team, the Red Rose, Blue Wolf. And then they also show what number you are, and these numbers go from 1 to 9. And then they show a couple other icons on the card that are either going to be Red Rose icons, Blue Wolves, or question mark icons. And then down at the bottom, they have a clue. Now, what you're going to do is, if you have an even number of players, you're going to take each deck and shuffle it, and let's say you have 8 players, you'll take 4 of the Rose cards and 4 of the Wolf cards randomly, mix those together and give everybody one. So everybody is on one of the two teams. If you have an odd number of players, you also take one of these guys who is kind of like the odd man out. He's on his own team here. Now, once you get your character, what you will do is each player also gets a reference card. You'll take your character and put the reference card together, and then you will show this to the person on your left. So they will see a clue down here, which probably tells them what affiliation you are. So this shows them that I'm the Rose character. But not everybody is like that. Each team has one character on it who, while they are on the Blue Wolf team, when they show their clue, they show that they are on the Red team. So that's an interesting feature of the game. So then one player is chosen to go first. That person is given one of the coolest tokens in the game ever. This is just a neat knife, and you're really going to be tempted to actually stab each other with this knife. Gameplay is very simple. Whoever starts the game will take this knife and point it at another player, give it to another player. They are basically stabbing that player. Now, if you are stabbed, any other player, you can ask for someone else to intervene. So someone else can basically jump in front of you and take the wound for you. Someone's going to take the wound. So let's say no one intervenes for me, and this is me, this gentleman here. When I have to take a wound now, I have 3 wounds I can take here, a 6 or one of the red tokens. So I decide to take one of the red tokens. I put that in front of me. Everybody now will take a look at their reference card, and they will say, okay, well, obviously he's on the red team, but which character is he? And they'll look and say, okay, he could be 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, or 1, because 2, 3, and 4 don't take red tokens. They only take question mark tokens. So they kind of have it narrowed down who you are. If you take the number token, let's say that gentleman, I took the number 6 token, you then can take the special ability. Each character has a special ability that they can take. If you take your number ability, your ranked wound, you can no longer intervene for other people. If you do intervene for someone and you jump in front of them and take the wound, you must take the number as your wound. After you take the wound, then you get the knife, and then you decide who you're going to attack. And this continues until somebody has 3 wounds in front of them and they take a 4th wound. When this happens, everybody turns their card over. If the person who was captured, the person who took the 4th wound, if they were the lowest number for their side, then the other team wins. They've captured your opponent's leader. However, for any other reason, whoever made that capture loses. So this guy's a 6. He's probably not the leader of the clan. But it is possible that in, let's say it's a 3-player game, that the other 2 characters are the 8 and 9, in which case he would be the leader. So you're never really quite sure who the leader is. Then again, there's always these special abilities. The number 1 character for each team, the Elder, when they are use their special ability, they will put the quill in front of them, which makes the person with the highest number now the leader. The Assassin, the number 2 character, can do 2 wounds. He's really the only way to kill the 1 leader, but at the same time, he can do 2 wounds, so he's deadly in that regard. And there's all sorts of other special abilities. One person can take a sword and give a shield to somebody else, and basically that person can't be attacked until this person has taken 3 wounds. We have these staffs, which basically when you take affiliation tokens, instead of taking the red or blues, you must take the question marks, which will help mask who you are. And then there's a fan. When you put a fan, other players can't intervene for you. There's players who can look at other people's cards to see who they are. So there's different special abilities, and you can only really use your special ability once, although there is someone who can heal you, in which case you can put back this token, I suppose, and then the next time you take it, use your special ability again. Now, when you throw in the guys who are on neither side, the gentlemen who are basically working for themselves, these guys, when they take their wound tokens, they can show red or blue tokens, or if they decide to take their special token here, their affiliation token, at that point they're going to give curses to everybody. Depending on the number of players, they're going to give false curses as a decoy, but a true curse, they're trying to give this to the leader of the clan that wins. If they do so, then they win the game instead of that person. So that's an interesting way to throw a mix into the game. The game is not very long. Like I said, you're going to go till someone is captured, and then all the cards are over, and hopefully the person who was captured was the leader of their team. Alright, now I mocked the art a little bit, but I mean the component quality is very high. The cards are very neat. Although, since you're going to be using these cards often, you'll probably want to get card protectors, and I don't know that they make, I'm sure they make card protectors this size, but they'll be harder to find, but what have you. The game itself is a very fast one. You'd be surprised how quickly this plays. There's certainly deduction going around the game, although as time goes by, it's not like you're sitting there really struggling to figure out who people are. If you're not sure who someone is, just stab them and hopefully they'll show it. But you want to make sure you kill your opponent's leader, and that is where the trick of this game lies, where you're trying to show deception, you're figuring things out, and someone might be talking to you and you're sure they're on your team, but they're not. So you need to make sure, you got to figure out who your team is, and then you got to make sure you kill your opponent's team leader. And then so with the special abilities and different things, I think I like this game because it fits that niche of resistance and werewolf, but it does so in a much shorter time. I don't think it's ever going to reach the depth of those games. I don't think it's ever going to, in Resistance, there's some really cool things that can happen. But Resistance takes 40 minutes to an hour, and Werewolf can take anywhere, who knows how long that game will take depending on the number of players. This game is really 20 minutes. What does it say on here? It says 15 to 30 minutes, yes. And I think that's a very reasonable thing. It's also very easy to teach. It's easy to play. It's harder to mess up. When you get injured, you take one of the 3 tokens on your card. You're not allowed to lie and take other tokens. I think I like playing with the odd player the best because I like playing with that extra guy who's working for himself. That's always a cool thing for me in these type of games. But it works. Now, the question is, should you get it? Well, I think it depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for a Resistance style game that plays very quickly, then yes, definitely. But if you already are a big fan of those games, Resistance and Werewolf, and have a longer game, I'm not sure this game's going to offer anything that spectacular. The biggest coolness thing of this one is its length. It's short, it's quick, it's to the point, it's easy. You don't have to teach people, and a stupid player, I say that nicely, but a stupid player can't mess the game up too much for others, while, in Werewolf, a stupid player can ruin the whole game for everybody if he's not careful. So anyway, that's Blood Battle. It's a game that may have flown underneath your radar, but you certainly should take a look at it. Bloodbound.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool Stuff in stock. Check them out at coolstuffinc.com.
Shut the door!
Yeah?